This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Hey, want to chime in on what's happening with your favorite KFAN program? Make your voice heard on the Brad, Sean, Brian text line. Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
Double 13-14 past. I'm comedies tend to be fast-paced, action-packed, and controversial first hour of the Grum. Expect more of the same in hour number 2. We kick things off with 5, 3, 4. I said 5, 3, 4.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Question number 1. It's time now for the lowdown in Dinkytown.
The Gophers were beaten down by the Buckeyes 42-3 Saturday night at Ohio Stadium. Ohio State outgained Minnesota 474-162 and gave up only 96 yards over the final 53 minutes and 5 seconds after that Gophers opening drive that led to a field goal. The Buckeyes amassed 5 passing plays of 29 yards or longer and averaged 12.2 yards per pass attempt. They went 7 for 10 on third downs. The Gophers just 1 for 11. Common, what sticks out to you from that Gophers loss at Ohio State?
That being delusional only gets you so far. You know, the coach at the beginning of the season, I like him. I really do. I harbor no ill will toward PJ Fleck. I've said before, if he was my boss, I'd quit. But he's talking to 17, 18, 19, 20, 20-year-old kids. So it's great. It gets them fired up. Kids play hard. Yeah, they win games. You know, they don't. But it goes to show you how far away you are from the elite. And look, Ohio State's a special case. I mean, they've given up They've given up 25 points in 5 games. 25 points in 5 games is all they've given up. We got 3 right out of the game. We were driving down the field. I was watching the game.
We're slicing and dicing them
at the tailgate party up at Golftoberfest at Grandview. They put a great big huge tent over one half of the driving range. They had a pig roast and all the fixins. You know, you got baked beans, the whole thing, right? And so they had the TV hooked up, and so a number of us were gathered around the TV watching the beginning. It started at 6:30. Live band started. I introduced him at 7, but so we were watching the game, and the Gophers got off to a nice start, moved the ball, got into scoring range, then drive stalled, as kind of felt it would, just because it's Ohio State. Get 3 points, and that's the last time we put any points on the board. It was just a beatdown. But, you know, the coach had talked about, you got to be delusional. You know, there's no reason why we can't have hopes and dreams and aspire to get into the 12-team playoff. It's like really hard to do. There are so many good college football teams out there. To be one of the top 12 is really difficult to do. And that's why those numbers at the beginning of the year, after they beat Hostess Cupcake University in the College of Dolly Madison, we saw these gaudy numbers. They had the top-ranked defense in the country, you know, for yards allowed, points allowed. They said, well, look who you're playing. I mean, it was a fact. Those were the best numbers, but we knew they were deceiving, and we saw that when they played Ohio State. There's the headline in the Fish Wrap Factory West Side was, you know, good things to take from the game, or still a lot of hope, or the future's bright. And yeah, I'm not saying it's a dark future, but it's what I've always said, and it doesn't mean you can't enjoy the university and go to the games and row the boat, Sky Uma, but I think to get to be one of those elite teams we had that one year. Remember we went 11-2 or something, and we ended up was that like 2018 or 2019? I don't remember what it was. We had at the season-ending Associated Press coaches poll, they were the 10th ranked team in the country. Won a bowl game. I think we beat Auburn or Alabama or somebody. I don't remember who it was. And, you know, all was right with the world, but it's tough to get there year after year after year. But yeah, it was tough sledding, that's for sure.
Question number 2.
Go Vikings, let's win this game. You'll hear us yell for more.
It's now time to take an in-depth look at the state of the skull.
It's an anniversary today, Common. You know what the anniversary is? Sorry, I didn't mean to catch a mid-bite of your salad.
Love Boat.
You're correct, yes.
Exciting and new.
It's the 20-year anniversary of the Love Boat scandal, which occurred during the Vikings bye week. Of course, we got a bye week this week. In 2005. Common, what do you remember about the Love Boat scandal?
That Bill O'Reilly invited me on to the O'Reilly thing. You remember Bill O'Reilly?
Oh, of course.
I think he's off TV now because of the loofah sponge incident, but he was on...
he did get canceled, right? Didn't he say something that was...
Yeah, I think it was the loofah sponge thing. You have to look up Bill O'Reilly loofah sponge.
I don't know what that means.
But when their people called me. They called the radio station and they wanted somebody to come on and talk about the Love Boat. And somehow they got put in touch with me, and I agreed. So I went down to Thank you. I went down to WCCO TV. You know, if you were watching any of those news shows like on Fox or CNN or MSNBC or any of the others, you see somebody with the Minneapolis skyline in their background. They're down at WCCO television, downtown Minneapolis, inside a little room that tend to be as half the size of this studio. And you sit there and you put the headset, you put the little ear thing, you know, the earpiece in your ear, and then all of a sudden you hear, "Hey, Minneapolis, are you there?" And you go, "Yeah, I'm here. Hey, this is Bill O'Reilly's people, blah, blah, blah." When you test, okay, Bill's going to bring you on here in a little bit, and we're going to talk Love Boat. So I remember talking Love Boat. So that's what I remember most, is that I had an opportunity to be on national television. And what I did, I've recanted this tale before. If you look at the picture of the skyline in the background, it's just like a big picture that they put on an easel. So I went back there and I drew a little stick man on the top of the IDS building, hoping it would show up on TV, but it was too faint. You couldn't see it. But, yeah, I don't know. They decided to celebrate, and I don't remember who was all responsible for it. There were a couple of different Vikings.
I remember Fred Smoot.
Yeah, it was Smoot. I think it was Fred Smoot that was kind of, allegedly, he was kind of the brains behind the operation. And I think they brought in women.
Yes.
That they
some ladies
that were not their significant others, and there were these kinds of dances and that kind of dances, and it was also, and then there was rumors of illegal drugs, and I don't know if that was ever proven or whatever came out, but it was certainly a smudge and a smear on that team and the organization. But yeah, it was, and that led to a lot of jokes. They took a lot of cheap shots, both locally and nationally for weeks on end. So,
question number 3.
Time now for an in-depth look at the state of hockey.
The Minnesota Wild signed goaltender Philip Gustafsson to a 5-year, $34 million contract extension Saturday. Gustafsson was entering the final year of his contract that paid him $3.75 million annually. Last year, he went 31-19-6 with a 2.56 goals against average and a .914 save percentage, and finished 6th in Vezina Trophy voting. Common, do you like the Gus Bus extension?
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. I was just waiting for my turn to talk. I guess we consider him a pretty good goaltender, right? Is that about the going rate? Do you think he's overpaid, underpaid? Do you think they should have?
I don't know what to think of him, so that's why I could see a scenario in which he outplays this contract. I can see a scenario in which we regret the contract. And I'm not, like, he was definitely, if you're 6th in Vezina voting, you had a good year last year. He was a quality goalie last year. I still don't know. Like, to me, once you start paying goalies lots of money, I need goalies that can, like, win games for us as opposed to just be okay and not make mistakes.
Okay.
The other part of this is it's too bad Volstead had such a bad year last year because he is considered, at one point he was considered top goalie prospect in all of hockey and thought that he was eventually going to be our guy. And I wish he would have reached the point where that Gustafsson would have been more expendable because we already had our guy, our goalie of the future. But now because we have doubts in Volstead, we kind of have to commit ourselves to Gustafsson and hope that last year he continues that production moving forward. I feel like there still might be some inconsistencies with him, that he might have years where this looks good and years where we're regretting it.
So our goalie combination will be
Gustafsson and Volstead.
Okay. Is there any chance Flower comes out of retirement?
You know, it's funny. I talked about it with Russo on the 10 of Fitzgerald on Friday. I asked him because I had seen one of those national writers that's really plugged in, one of those kind of guys, Hockey Insiders, that said he's expecting that come January and February when there's teams that need a goalie.
Oh, really?
That they're going to call Marc-Andre Fleury. And I asked that to Russo, and Russo's like, yeah, I know of 5 teams that offered him contract for this upcoming year, including, right before training camp.
Already.
So, and he's still basically like he's practicing like as an e-bug. He's not the e-bug, but he's like practicing with the Wild and like their prospects like every single day. Like
What's an e-bug?
The emergency backup goalie. If 2 goalies were to get hurt in a game.
E-bug. Oh, I see.
Emergency backup goalie.
All right.
Which he can't do that. It has to be someone who hasn't who's not in the league and under contract. But he's working for the Wild. He's around the team every day. Russo is convinced that he doesn't want to leave his kids.
Sure.
So that if he did come out of retirement, it would be in Minnesota.
It's very controversial. Maybe he'll be back between the pipes at the Grand Casino Arena. There you go with 534.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 Questions. Well, actually 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
Answer to my prayers, answer to my dreams on the genie's lamp. I'll explain other side of the break. It's the Common Man program on the Fan. Tenneby, I think, has got a keyword for the National Cash Contest.
Yeah, speaking of dreams, how would you like to win $1,000? Because the Fan and 2 men in a junk truck want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our National Cash Contest. Just enter the keyword check at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. The keyword is check. Enter it now at KFAN.com. Turn the volume all the way up. My Chemical Romance.
My Chemical Romance. Imagine all the people
is coming to Minnesota, and it's going to be electric.
In the heart of the night, in the cool falling rain.
Catch them at Target Field for one night only on August 24th.
It was raining hard in Frisco. I needed one more fare to make my night.
Full details available at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar. My Chemical Romance.
My Chemical Romance, 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 romance. Couple 13-14 pastime common. He is Tenneby, head coach of the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings. Generally makes his day after the game news conference appearance on the Fan at about 1:20, 1:30 or so. That's been moved forward, or no, back. That'd be back or forward. It'd be at 2:30 is what I'm trying to say. A little bit later on today, we'll have that for you in its entirety, unless it goes on and on and on and on. And the coach tends to be very wordy, as we know, especially after thrilling victories, and that was certainly one yesterday. If you remember, Tenneby, last week I was lamenting the fact that as much as I love the company, the free, everybody wants something for free. Coffee in the break room was basically mud. It was like Pennzoil 10W30 recycled. And I used one of the genie came out of the lamp. After I rubbed the lamp, I said, I want 3 wishes. And she said, your wish is my command. I said, first of all, I want 3 more wishes. And I had 5 after I used my other one. And the next one was, we wish we would have some really good coffee here. We've got something new, thanks to Caribou.
We got something new, thanks to Caribou.
Apparently Caribou was listening to us, and they came to the rescue. And they brought me a coffee. Did you get one too?
I don't drink coffee, but I love the strawberry banana smoothie there, so I got one of those.
So you got the smoothie.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
I've got, and they wanted to know what my order was. And it's like, I don't do foo-foo drinks. Is that what they call them, foo-foo drinks?
Foo-foo drinks?
Yeah, I don't do, malilati kali, buliadiudis, whatever they do, where they mix different stuff, lattes and frappes and medium dark roast, black. So good.
Incredible.
The boo.
Make Caribou your boo.
Make Caribou your boo. And by the way, everybody can get a free coffee. Here's what Caribou says. You download their app or go to their website, sign up for a new Caribou Perks account, and you'll get a free medium drink after your first purchase. Free, free, free. Everybody wants something for free. Text PERKS, P-E-R-K-S, to 762 Caribou.
762 Caribou.
Today, to enroll, your free fall drink is waiting. So good. Tenabe, are you a
With that sound effect you just made, like you should be a spokesperson for Caribou on like television, like at a taste fairy or something.
I'd like to do it on radio or TV.
Sure, yeah.
In fact, I'd like to do it on I'd even like wear a sandwich board for the right amount of money and just walk around.
One of those people at the intersection dancing?
Yeah, just walk around, sticking down here at the West End when I get off work. Not before I'm playing golf. I do it afterwards, though. So, are you a big Diana Rossini guy?
Sure.
She's plugged in, right?
Yeah.
And she writes for, wasn't she at the Star Trib or here in Minneapolis or ESPN locally or something, and now she's with The Athletic?
I think she definitely was ESPN.
Yeah, and I think she was based here locally.
She just moved within the last year or so to The Athletic.
And she was based here locally.
Was she?
Not? Yeah, because I always thought she was in studio.
She always seems...
I thought she was in studio with PA and Guerrero.
Are you thinking of Courtney Cronin?
That's who I'm thinking of,
yeah.
Courtney Cronin.
No, Diana Rossini's national.
Yeah. But I mean, now Courtney Cronin's
she's kind of national, but yeah, she's specifically the Bears.
Yeah, oh, okay.
She covers a team, whereas Diana covers it all.
Well, right. I guess what I'm saying is I got my people confused. I thought Diana Rossini was the one that was covering local and then went national, but apparently she was not. Nonetheless, she does a notes thing that she did on Saturday where she talked about several developments across the league, including this one that says, Vikings staying patient with J.J. McCarthy. Quarterback Carson Wentz will start again for the Vikings on Sunday in London against the Browns, with McCarthy still sidelined with a high ankle sprain. The medical staff projected a 4 to 6 week recovery, which I thought it was
yes,
2 to 4. Yeah, it was 2 to 4. Now it's 4 to 6 week recovery. And Coach Kevin O'Connell has been clear that McCarthy won't play until he's had a full week of practice.
Of course.
To this point, he hasn't returned in any capacity, not even on a limited basis. That reality has led to some raised eyebrows around the league. A few have wondered whether Minnesota might be hiding behind McCarthy's injury to buy more time after the first-year starter struggled in Week 2 against the Falcons. And let's not forget the first 3 quarters in Week 1 against the Bears. I threw that in. But O'Connell's track record suggests otherwise. Since arriving in Minnesota, he's been transparent, steady, and consistent when it comes to injury updates, never the type to play games for a competitive advantage, which is why questions about McCarthy's status cut against the equity O'Connell has built. He's taken the Vikings to the playoffs, developed quarterbacks, and showed leadership that's earned him credibility. For now, his focus is on capping a 2-week European trip with a win over the Browns, and O'Connell has earned the benefit of the doubt that when McCarthy's ready, when he's had a full week of practice, and when he's healthy, he'll be the starter. I've been told by multiple sources that McCarthy isn't healthy, and while the target return has been Week 7 against the Eagles, it could still be longer. I'm told nothing to see here. And oftentimes when you're told nothing to see here, there's plenty to see. Mm-hmm. So she's just taking it at face value that she believes O'Connell and that he's earned this equity, and that could very well be. But being transparent and forthright with injury discussions is different than saying, because all I've seen O'Connell say is, well, when he's healthy, we're not going to rush anything when he's healthy. And you just heard, we thought it was 2 to 4 weeks, and now this story says 4 to 6.
Yeah, that's That's a time difference, yes. They never told us 4 to 6 before.
That's exactly right. Now, it could very well be that if McCarthy is ready to go against Philadelphia, he will start. I'm still not so sure. And I don't think the coach needs to make a decision on it right now. And if he decides to stick with Wentz, that's good by me. If he decides to go with McCarthy, I got that text message last week where someone thinks I don't like McCarthy and I think we should give up on him. That's what what he's heard from what I've said. And all I'm saying is I'm just not convinced. When you spend the kind of money they did, do we have one of the most expensive rosters in all of football? And I think we have one of the oldest, too, especially when we added guys.
Definitely one of the oldest.
We added guys in the middle of the offensive, in the middle of the defensive line. And so when you're kind of saying we're all in to win now, you got to go with who gives you the best opportunity. I'll tell you this, if McCarthy starts against the Eagles and he's awful, he won't start again until the Vikings are out of contention. I guarantee you that. And if you don't, then I think there could be trouble. Then you have to face. I know it's important for this quarterback to succeed long term for McCarthy or for O'Connell and for Kwesi. But if I'm one of these veteran players that thought we're here to win now, and you're sacrificing the possibility of winning games now to get a kid experience, I think there could be a little pushback there. Let's take a break. Come back. We got more to get to. It's a controversial Common Man program. We'll be right back after this here on the Fan.
Hey, Rubes, this football season, Bell Bank is giving one KFAN listener each week $1,000 to pay it forward to a charity of their choice. Just head over to KFAN.com, keyword contest to learn more and enter today. That's KFAN.com, keyword contest.
Couple 13-14 pass, Common Man program. Tenneby, you're familiar with the game it's called the Initials game. You're familiar with
the
it, right?
what?
The Initials game. Power Trip Morning Show, correct?
Yeah, it was really big in Kansas City, I believe, at a radio station there.
Are you familiar with the game called Program Password?
Yes, I am.
By the way, who won? What were the teams and who won?
It was myself and Nordo versus Lil B and John Krasinski.
And?
Lil B and John Krasinski got out to an early lead by double digits. And Nordo and I came by and sniped it at the end.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So where's Lil B stand as far as in that race?
She's still 2 away from 100.
How many am I away? 4 or 5?
Something like that. Yeah, you still have a have a shot.
I think it's 4 or 5 away, something like that. 4 or 5 or 6.
Just in your mirror may be closer than they appear.
Are you familiar with another television or another show, game show? This would be a television show called To Tell the Truth.
Yes.
It's an American game show where a panel of celebrities questions 3 contestants, 2 of them whom are imposters, to identify the one person telling the truth about a unique story or occupation. So if we were going to do that, you would have 3 different people stand up. You would have Mike Zimmer stand up and say, I'm the QB whisperer. Then you would have Kyle Shanahan stand up and say, I'm the quarterback whisperer. And then you have Kevin O'Connell stand up and say, I'm the quarterback whisperer. And then the panel of celebrities would try to ask questions of the contestants and see which one is telling the truth and which is the imposter. I think it's a little up in the air who the real quarterback whisperer is. Here in this town and nationally, it's considered Kevin O'Connell. I still haven't figured out why. I guess he gets a lot of credit for Kirk Cousins' year he had here in the first year in O'Connell. Yeah. I didn't think...
Even though he was good in Washington and then good in his early stretch here.
I didn't think he was... I think he was the highest paid quarterback before Kevin O'Connell came around. Or one of them. I mean, he was considered a pretty good quarterback. And I don't think he got necessarily that much better. Pasternak came at a game and a half really good, then he went in the tank. All the other quarterbacks that have worked for him have been awful, with the exception of Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold had a terrific year, and he has picked up where he left off. He's been spectacular. They should have been 4-1. Did you watch? Did you see any of Tampa Bay?
No,
Seattle?
I just saw the score.
Really good game, except there was no defense. Was a rumor in the second half. I don't think anybody touched the ball without scoring in the second half, and I think they were all tutties. Remember when I told you how much I like Baker Mayfield? He is so much fun to watch. I'm not going to declare him the best quarterback in football. I don't even know if you could put him in the top 10. I don't know, but he makes plays, Tenneby. He makes plays with his arm, his feet. I like Baker Mayfield. I think you can do a lot worse than Baker Mayfield. They ended up winning that game late on a figgy, I think, and defeated Seattle. And Darnold threw an interception late in the game, but it's on him. He threw a pass that I think hit the helmet of one of his offensive linemen and caromed right to a Tampa Bay guy. So kind of a bad break. It wasn't like he made like he threw it in double coverage and threw it right to it. Like, how many did you watch? You didn't see it in the Lions game. The Browning guy was there was a couple of moments when he was good. He threw 3 interceptions where I don't know where he was throwing the football. He was just absolutely awful yesterday for the most part. And
been awful 3 weeks in a row. It wasn't just yesterday.
Yeah. And so, but anyway, but I look at the 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo was pretty good under Kyle Shanahan. He was really good under Kyle Shanahan. And after he left, is he out of the league now? Is he still backing up somewhere? But he was really good. He helped take San Francisco to the postseason. Didn't they get to an NFC Championship game?
I think he's backing up Stafford in LA, if I recall.
Didn't Jimmy Garoppolo get San Francisco to an NFC Championship
Sure he did.
game?
I felt like they had some good teams.
That's under Kyle Shanahan. Garoppolo blossomed under Kyle Shanahan. They went with the Fields character, right? Who did they?
Trey Lance?
Trey Lance.
Yeah.
They decided to go with Trey Lance, and they realized right away, quarterback whisperer or not, this guy doesn't have it.
Yeah.
So they abandoned it. Shannon didn't let the ego of I'm quarterback whisperer guy get in his way. They admitted a mistake, and they gave up a lot of capital to get him. Then Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy, I think he's got a $300 million contract right now, $238 or so. He's got a huge contract, right? Brock Purdy has turned into
He got the bag.
He got the bag. He turned into a really good quarterback under the tutelage of Kyle Shanahan. And I have to remind people of this all the time. Sam Darnold, his stop before he came to Minnesota was in San Francisco. And he went to a big game with Kyle Shanahan, the San Francisco 49ers, and Brock Purdy. Now, he didn't play, but he was in that quarterback room. And he watched every day, day in, day out, for an entire season, how a big-time National Football League operation works, a good operation, and one that can find and develop quarterbacks. Darnold comes here, and give credit to Kevin O'Connell. I'm not trying to take any credit. I know it sounds like I am, and I guess I just think it should be spread around more. I'm just not convinced it's all one guy. Our quarterbacks coach is pretty good, too. And now Darnold has picked up where he left off. He's been very good so far for Seattle. They're now, I think, 3-2. And they had that game in the bag and they lost. Brock Purdy's hurt. And a guy named Mac Jones, who was given up for dead as well. Wasn't he drafted by the Patriots?
New England. He was the heir apparent to Tom Brady.
15th pick overall. And he was discarded by the Patriots. By the way, when I told you I was really interested in watching that Thursday night game, you told me don't bother. You basically said it was going to be a rout. Because San Francisco was missing all sorts of players.
I doubted the quarterback whisperer.
You did.
The real quarterback whisperer.
Correct. Because San Francisco won that game 26-23 in overtime. Mac Jones's numbers, 33 for 49, 342 yards and 2 tutties. And last I checked, that Rams defense is really good. I mean, really good. So, players play, coaches coach. Coaches can coach players up. But I don't know. Do I give the credit to Mac Jones, Sam Darnold? Do I give it to O'Connell? Do I give it to Shanahan? Is it a combination of all of that? I don't know what to say. And Danny Jones, Danny Jones has been pretty darn good since he left here with Baltimore. They put up 40 points
MVP
yesterday.
candidate.
And again, he didn't play here much under O'Connell, right? He was kind of riding the bench. He didn't play at all.
Yeah, he wasn't even active till like the playoffs.
Right. So now
which they did just so they could get a compensatory draft pick for him.
Is O'Connell getting the credit for Danny Dimes too? I mean, maybe he should. I don't know. But he's been really, really good. So,
well, to your point, we always like to credit coaching for a player's performance. And I think there are small incremental percentages that a coach can add to a player. But if a quarterback is succeeding on the field, that's 95%, I shouldn't say 95. 80% of that is the quarterback's performance. There are other variables included, which I was about to get to, with the real quarterback whisperer in Minnesota. The real quarterback whisperer in Minnesota is not KOC. It is Justin Jefferson. Because even yesterday, Carson Wentz had put up good stats yesterday. He played fine. A lot of those passes to Justin Jefferson, most wide receivers in this league aren't catching.
Yeah.
Like he was jumping up, turning his back, about to get hit. Like the balls weren't perfectly thrown to JJ.
The best one he made is when he pirouetted in the middle of the field, and he didn't even stop. He caught the ball and spun around and then was facing downfield again and just took off for another few yards. That was more impressive than the catch itself. The catch was brilliant. Yeah. But the way he kept his balance and just spun around and he didn't stop even for a moment. It was brilliant.
But he had, a lot of those were not perfect throws. JJ comes down with all of them. And then, some of them were just 50-50 throws to him that most quarterbacks in the NFL can throw. So it wasn't like Carson Wentz had just some brilliant performance. Now, the last drive, Carson Wentz is really good. I'm not trying to take away from Carson. But my point is, what do all these quarterbacks that have gone under the quarterback whisperer in KOC had in common here? They've all had Justin Jefferson as a wide receiver, and that helps.
It does indeed. I think you're...
But to my original point, a quarterback's performance is mostly on him, but there are other variables, right? I think coaching can help a percentage of it.
Yeah.
I think having great wide receivers can help a percentage of it. Having a strong offensive line can help a percentage of it. But too often, especially with Darnold, because he was bad elsewhere, we don't want to credit him. It had to have been someone else had gotten into Sam Darnold's head and figured out how to make that thing work.
Yeah.
When maybe in just those previous destinations that Darnold was at, all those percentages that we were talking about, the wide receivers, the offensive line, the coaching, he didn't get that elsewhere.
Someone else writes, comment recently, Darnold was asked who contributed the most to his recent success. He didn't say KOC, he said it was Brock Purdy.
Really?
Yeah, that's again, this is what a text messenger says from the 320. I did not see that story, but I'm not going to discount it either. And the only reason I keep harping on this is because I agree with what you just said. It's 80%. I don't know you give whatever percentage.
Yeah, I don't know what the exact number is, but yes.
But it's, you either have it or that it factor where you're able to do it. And so often it's where you are too. When you're that young quarterback, and you're drafted, you're usually going to a terrible team in a terrible city with terrible fans, and that's why you're the number one pick overall, or you're drafted like in McCarthy's case. We moved up from 11 to 10, so he was 10th, right?
Yeah.
Was it 5 quarterbacks taken in the top 10, or 4 or 5 quarterbacks taken in the top 10? And the reason those teams are drafting that high, unless a team moves up to get them, is because the teams he's going to isn't very good. And they don't get really good overnight by selecting a quarterback. You still need protection. You still need playmakers. You still need you do need an offensive coordinator that has a good scheme. I liked the play yesterday with Akers. I love that kind of stuff. I like coaches that are creative, that think out of the box. Some people think gimmicky plays are for teams that if they try to just do traditional offense, run and pass, shotgun or 7-step drop or whatever the case may be, well, it's because they're hiding deficiencies. And that's true in some cases.
Sure.
Some teams have no other option but to try trickeration. But it's not like that's what the Vikings need to do. Now, maybe with the offensive line, they need to create a little bit more time and do some things different. But they got playmakers. But I like plays. It totally caught me off guard. When Akers got the ball, I thought he was running it. I didn't think he was.
Well, it's actually smart to do, too, right? Because now if you want to run, and it doesn't have to be Akers necessarily, but if you want to run your running back making that play, now teams in the future go, well, it's possible they could pass here. I can't be as aggressive on the run. Like, it's just smart football. It's not even trick football.
Exactly. It's smart football.
And it's using the talents of all your players, which is what you should do.
That is correct. And so I think the coach we have here, he's good. He's got a bright future. I like him. I just sometimes wonder, because here's the other thing I fear, and other than fear itself, is, do these coaches start to believe the headlines that they read about them? He's the quarterback, and you start thinking, God, maybe I am really good at this. Maybe I can take anybody and turn them into something. So you know what? I will pass on Darnold. I'll pass on Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, we feel like we're ready to win now, and we've just spent boatloads of money. As a matter of fact, when I asked if the Vikings were spending the most money, someone sent me a text message and said that, where the heck did it go? It was regarding something Seifert said. I think Seifert said that the Vikings, here's what it says. He goes, I think Seifert said the Vikings are number one in the league in cash spending this season, like $325 million. So when you're all in financially and you rebuilt the 2 weak spots you're in to win. Now, you win 14 games last year.
You're not going 6-11 and developing a quarterback.
No. Yeah. And so, I hope McCarthy's the guy. I hope he is. And let's reiterate, I don't think either of us has given up on him.
No.
Not in any way, shape, or form. You looked at that fourth quarter against the Bears, and that was really good. And that was mostly on him. He made some great decisions, some great throws. He's got a lot of talent. But
the offenses look different with Carson Wentz in there.
Exactly.
They look more professional.
Yes, and so if you're in it for now, and that's why people will say, yeah, but you don't want to. You don't want to, if you sit him on the bench now, might make him annoyed. Well, guess what? Aaron Rodgers sat on the bench for 3 years behind Favre. He was already annoyed because remember when he didn't get selected by San Francisco, his favorite team? You know how Wentz went to Vikings games, and that was his favorite teams when he's living up North Dakota? It was the same thing with Rodgers. San Francisco was his club. They showed that clip a couple 1,400 times where they asked him what he was. He goes, well, I don't remember exactly what it was. He goes, well, I just want to show San Francisco they made a mistake by not drafting him. He wanted to go to San Francisco, and then he turned into he's a surefire first ballot unanimous Hall of Famer with 4 MVPs in one big game. And so he had to sit. So he was already annoyed there, and then he had to sit for 3 years behind Favre.
You can't make decisions based off of a player.
Exactly.
Every player you sit over somebody else, that player's going to get annoyed.
Exactly.
When you cut someone from your roster, they get annoyed. Adam Thielen's probably annoyed that he played like 10 plays yesterday.
Well, that's another one. Where is Thielen? I mean, other than he's on the team, I get that. But I mean, and you know what? I think when you and I discussed it, I didn't have a problem bringing him back because they needed somebody.
I would have done it, yeah.
Addison's up for 3 games, but I was skeptical of what he had left. And I don't know if his lack of productivity is just not being targeted, if he's just not what he used to be, if he's not part of the game plan. But he's been nearly invisible, right?
Yes.
I mean,
he's a non-factor.
He's a non-factor right now.
And I did not see that coming.
And whether that continues or not remains to be seen.
Now, for also chunks of the season, the offense in general hasn't been good, so that's going to affect your receiver stats. And of course, JJ is going to get his always. He's going to be the number 1 target. But yeah,
here's another one. Danny Jones sucked for the Giants. Came here and has been playing well with the Colts. So apparently, this text messenger thinks it's all because he had to stop here. He was here for 4 games, and that 4 games of watching and working under O'Connell has turned him into this kind of maybe it is. I don't know. Another one says, O'Connell also whispered Danny Dimes for a short time. He's looking pretty good lately. All right. Okay.
Well, then we should play J.J. McCarthy next game.
Well, that's what I think.
Right? Because it's slam dunk. He's going to be great the rest of the way.
That's why I just, again, I guess all of this is, and look, and I'll say it again. If they decide to go with McCarthy against Philadelphia, I hope he's brilliant. I hope the time away, his ankle's healed, watching a little bit more, good game plan, goes in and just carves up the Eagles. Because, I think you'll struggle against, now Philly lost yesterday. I'm not even sure how they lost that game. I was watching parts of it. It just didn't seem like that was a game the Eagles were going to lose. The Broncos, I think, do have a good defense. That's a good club.
Yep.
It was the Broncos they lost, right? Because I watched part of it. But that's a game you sort of expected Philadelphia to win. And so, but as we talked about earlier, when, ESPN was doing the old, which is the most, disconcerting loss? Was it the Eagles losing or the Bills losing? It's like, well, that just happens in the NFL. Clubs lose. How many undefeated teams have we had over the years? We don't have them very often. Teams are going to lose regular season games. The margin for error is very small in the league, and teams are, even the mediocre teams can rise up and play well occasionally. And I hope McCarthy can do it, but look, to the point of a lot of the text messengers last week, there's really nothing I've seen from the Vikings in the first 5 games that leads me to believe might want to start planning that parade route. I think we're winning a big game. It's because they haven't been, there's been other teams where you look at and you go, man, like the Lions lately, the last 4 weeks have just looked, they had another mediocre game yesterday, and that score was closer than the game indicated. They were up 28. You know what they did? Kurt Menefee came on and said, we're going to a more competitive game. They left the Lions-Bungles game at 28-3. They knew it was over. And Bungles scored a couple to make it close, but they never got to within 11. Here's the thing I was getting annoyed with at first, Tennessee. So the Lions game was being showed locally. So it was blacked out on YouTube TV. Is it YouTube TV?
Sure. Yeah.
With that as Sunday Ticket. They go to the other game. So I go to YouTube TV and it's still blacked out. And I'm like, now wait a minute.
Yeah.
You can't do it. But you know what? It took a couple of minutes, but all of a sudden it was back on YouTube TV. Okay. So they communicated.
Did you call corporate?
Well, I didn't. And I wasn't.
Did you get Anselmo involved?
Well, I considered it, but then I thought I knew the outcome of the game wasn't in doubt at that point, even though Bungles scored a couple of quick.
They came back a little bit.
They came back, but it was still one of those games where you still... They were always down 11. Yeah, they was down 11. So, but I like where the Vikings are situated right now. And it's a good problem to have when you say, we got a quarterback of the future, eventually going to be ready to play again. And he had that one brilliant quarterback. And you got a veteran guy who looked pretty good. And you've won games with a makeshift offensive line. Yeah. It's ramshackle. I mean, you got third string. You got a guy that had never played center before snapping the ball in a game against a good defense.
And he wasn't your biggest worry on the line.
No, he wasn't your biggest worry. That's exactly right. And the Myles Garrett character, they did a nice job on him. They had to chip a lot and double, but that was
best case scenario for that offensive line yesterday.
Best case scenario.
Yes,
it was really good. Did we have 2 fumbles?
Yes, Mason and Xavier Scott.
Yeah. And then, so the hanging on to the football and then the lack of run defense until that last drive when they stopped the Browns twice in a row. Of course, that was again where you knew the Browns were going to run. Of course, you should have known they were running before because they were running roughshod over you. But we stopped them for like a 1-yard gain and no gain, and then the incomplete pass, we got the ball back, and then Wentz brought him down the field with the help of Addison and Jets, and they won the game. So, week off now. We'll see what happens after that. It's been controversial. Let's take a break, come back with more. We got tickets to give away yet, too, to Flop, Sweat, and Tears here on the Common Man program on The Fan.